Rye Brook Village, and the mayor is with us today, Jason Klein, is going to be celebrating their birthday this very weekend. They were formed back in June of 1982, so this is their 42nd year of incorporation. I believe I'm correct in saying they are the most recently incorporated government in Westchester County. We have 45 different municipal governments. Once upon a time, there was a village of North Pelham that got merged into the village of Pelham. We've had village of Mount Kisco become a coterminous town village. All of this inside baseball. But the village of Rye Brook was once the unincorporated portion of the town of Rye, and it was a major action by which it became an incorporated village. That's a long time ago, but I do remember all of the things that circulated around that particular issue. But now its village board governs the community of 10,000 people. I've had the pleasure of representing it in the state legislature in both houses, and now as a county executive. Work very closely with the people in Rye Brook. Lots of issues that overlap between the county and the village, but a lot of issues that they on their own are responsible for. So the mayor, Jason Klein, is going to be here to talk about what's latest in the village of Rye Brook. Mr. Mayor, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to thank County Executive George Latimer for inviting me to speak today. As he said, I'm Jason Klein. I'm the mayor of the village of Rye Brook. Very happy to do so. I actually grew up in the village of Rye Brook, so I like to say my parents moved to the town of Rye but sold their house in the village of Rye Brook, which was nice timing for them. So there are a number of issues that we've been dealing with in the village of Rye Brook, and one of the ones that's really closest to my heart is the issue of flooding, that we've as many of the other municipalities in Westchester have had to deal with, we've had to deal with flooding in the village of Rye Brook as well. We have the Blind Brook, actually two branches of the Blind Brook that flow through the village until they join up and flow down into Rye. So we work closely with other municipalities as well. And one of the biggest pieces of news that we have in Rye Brook is that in the past, when I had been here, I had talked about the possibility of having a buyout program through the NRCS. We are now moving into the point where we're getting into contracts of sales with the homes. So of the 22 homes that qualified through this NRCS, the National Resources Conservation Service program to buy out houses that flood regularly, of the 22 houses that qualify, 14 have chosen to move forward with this program, and we're now entering the contracts of sale. So we're getting into closings with these houses whereby the village will buy out the homes, demolish them, turn them into floodplain, so saving homeowners and other residents downstream from having to be flooded, but also giving residents an opportunity to move out of houses that flood regularly, so that it gives them another option of what they're able to do. This is completely voluntary. There's no force on this, that if they choose to participate in this program, they're given a value that was set by an appraiser hired by the NRCS, well, hired by the village, funded by the NRCS, and a lot of these appraisals actually came back above assessed value, which we were very happy to see. Other news in Rye Brook, we continue to look at other solutions along Brook Lane itself, where we hired a consultant to look how we may be able to better move the stormwater from those properties and from the streets down into the brook slowly, so it's not flooding the brook farther downstream, but also moving it away from the houses that flood regularly, even the ones that don't qualify for this program. We continue to work with the city of Rye on finding projects that were identified in the Resilient Streams study that was done by Ramble Engineers. We're very lucky to also be continuing to look for grant funds for Avon Circle project, which would create a lot of flood storage underneath the Portchester Middle School fields. That project was actually already awarded a partial grant that we have to find other monies for before we can collect on, but that was done by the County of Westchester through the Planning Department. So we're very hopeful that we can find grant funding for that project to again help alleviate flooding downstream. We've also received grants to restudy flooding and additional projects in the Rich Manor Park area, which is a park, again, along one of the branches of the brook. Rye Brook continues to also be a village that welcomes development and redevelopment. And we think that Rye Brook is a very strong place to invest in such development. We have a project that is currently approved through all of our boards and awaiting construction at 900 King Street. That would be a 62 and older age-restricted development. And just recently, we've received applications for development at 975 Anderson Hill Road, the former Doral property. And that's a mixed-use hotel, residential, and commercial property is what the application is for, and it's currently going through the EIS process. We just kicked off the EIS process from Village Board, kicking it over to planning, and that'll come back to us through that document. We had a public hearing on the scoping document. As the county executive mentioned, we have a lot of community events in Rybrook. This coming Saturday, we have our Rybrook birthday party, which typically is at Crawford Park. This year, we're having it at the King Street Fields, which were built in conjunction with Westchester County years ago, down on King Street there. And we've had events such as the Halloween in the fall, a lot of senior events run through our AJP Senior Center, and our phenomenal coordinator there, Liz Rotfeld, and many other community events, summer concert series, we'll have Ice Cream Fridays, and many more of the like to try and bring the community closer together. We are a community of 10,000 residents, and we like to try to get the people together as much as possible. So on behalf of the Village of Rybrook and the Board of Trustees for the Village of Rybrook, I'd like to say thank you to the County Executive for welcoming me here today to talk about Rybrook.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Jason Klein, the mayor of the Village of Rybrook. And we should point out that the mayor of Rybrook, the trustees, village trustees, serve without compensation. There's a handful of communities in Westchester County. Scarsdale comes to mind, Pleasantville Village Board, the Rye City Council, Larchmont Village Board, there may be one or two more, in which those who serve in local office do it as a completely voluntary activity. And that is particularly admirable because the time and energy it takes to work to be a decision maker in a village, a town, a city is not to be underestimated. There's land use issues, there's a host of other policy issues. You're subject to the same range of issues that come before a county legislature and a county executive, issues of workforce unionization and contracts and capital projects. So, Mr. Mayor, and back to the rest of your village board members, thank you for your public service.